I'm Hayes, one of your hosts here. That's Baylor the Great. What's going on, B?
Yay, yay.
We got some stuff to talk about today, man. We're going to hop right into it. First off, LL Cool J snaps a little bit on DJ Academics, man. Mainly talking about like the pioneers in hip hop, how money has changed, things like that. We talked a little bit about it before we started recording, but Baylor, I'm going to turn it right over to you. What did you think about LL Cool J's rant? What do you think about these DJ Academics, where he kind of sits in the culture as being the troll that he is? How do you feel about everything right now?
Well, for one, I didn't get the chance to catch what DJ Academic actually said, but I'm aware and familiar with his work. So it sounds like a lot of clickbait.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the 2 minutes and 36 seconds clip that I did watch of LL in the beginning, he said two things that stood out. He mentioned a couple of jazz artists, he mentioned some rock stars, and he said that we don't talk about their bank accounts. But
Yeah.
in hip hop, we've all known this since the beginning of, honestly, since the beginning, where back in the 80s, it started back then. The medallions, the Gucci, and the cars and stuff like that. We flamboyant, and now that we're fast forwarding things like that, the artist that we grew up listening to has grown up and has
Yeah.
a different perspective on life and things like that, knowing that the messages that we was getting back then were totally wrong, because he's right. We're not checking these other genres and checking their bank accounts, because today's generation is looking at money as the end all be all, but not
Mm-hmm.
understanding what these the artists that came before them, the grandfathers, so to speak, how they built the foundation for them to even have a platform at the end of the day. So I feel like he was right. I didn't get the full I ain't gonna say interview, but the full clip. But from that 2 minute and 36 seconds that I got, um, we know how he can go in. You know what I mean? But at his age, I can understand how he said how he said it. Um, but it was well understood by me. I think he could have went in a little harder. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. And again, it's DJ Academic, so to me it was like clickbait to me.
For sure. And a lot of people spoke out more than just LL Cool J's getting the most, but Hendog from Sugar Hill Gang spoke out on it. Van Silk spoke out on it. MC Shyrock's spin out on it. There's been a lot of people who have come out now and kind of reacted to it. And they say hit dogs bark, but I think that it's not from the fact that anybody was necessarily offended. It's from the fact of you don't understand what those people had to go through to be able to create a lane for rappers to make as much money as what they are now. And when you don't pay, we already don't take care of the forefathers of hip hop.
Man.
For you to then double slap them in the face with idiot comments like that, it gets offensive. Marquis joined the building. What's going on? The Rare Wine Connoisseur, aka Hip Hop Historians, in the building. What's going on? We're talking about the issue with LL Cool J and DJ Academics. Marquis, I know you've kind of stayed on top of this. What are your thoughts on it?
He's a fucking idiot and
Yeah.
disrespectful. He's
Well,
just
there
fucking
you go.
disrespectful.
There you go.
Like, dude, I don't know if he's just trying to be relevant again or if he was ever relevant. Stop. Stop. It's not like he's an aficionado of the culture anyway. Fuck out of here. Shut the fuck up. I'm coming
All
in.
right.
Nigga, what? Academics, my ass, man. Yo, you know what? Academics is like the basics of things, right?
Is that your TV in the background, bro?
That's what it sound like? I'm sorry, hold
Yeah.
on.
All right.
Let me fix that. But just real quick, academics like the basics, right? Get back to
Yeah.
the basics.
Yeah.
Okay. Get back to the basics. Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
All right. Well, there you fucking have it. Okay. Now there's not a lot. I said I wanted to do this show. I'll wait till Marquise comes back. To completely explain it away. I'm going to ask you this though, Baylor. With what's being what this kind of has turned into, you think this brings more awareness for the younger crowd of like what the forefathers in hip hop did have to go through? Do you think this brings more awareness, or do you think that Centennials or whatever they're called at this point don't really give a fuck and they never will?
Nah, they don't care. They don't care.
Okay.
As much as we like to say um, how irrelevant DJ Academics is, he has a following, a cult like following.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that bracket Starts from anywhere, I guess, from 12 to 13, all the way up to like maybe the late 20s or early 30s. You know what I mean? So he has a following. And even though we have these handheld devices that could help us with a lot of information that we need, they're not going to use it for that. I honestly think that your older cousins and your that's basically how I started to learn about hip hop outside of observing it myself, because we're in that age bracket where we grew up with hip hop. We're not that much younger or older than hip hop at all.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we're in that first quarter. But them is different, and it's like I was taught about Wu-Tang, I was taught about NWA, and then I seen it for myself. So I grew up with it. They didn't grow up with it, they grew up with technology. We grew up off of what we seen in the streets, what we heard in cats' cars, and then eventually videos.
Okay.
So check this out. I had a conversation with my son about how Coil Ray is basically people are bashing her because her album sales and everything, and she sold like 300. She streamed like 300,000, right? And everybody's like, oh, the only reason she did it was because her popular songs and everything. And remember the conversation we had about how Kendrick Lamar didn't have as many streams or whatever, and there's all this bitching about that. Mm-hmm. We're the only culture that does that.
Only one.
We're the only culture that does that shit. I mean, There's nothing positive that comes out of anything. Somebody will find a reason to rip everything we do. Fine, Drake album wasn't what everybody expected, so they bashed him. Bay's album wasn't what everybody expected, they bashed him. Kendrick didn't sell as much. There is no other genre that bashes as much as we do. There's no positivity, no promotion, no progression. And then you have, like you said, he has a following. And how is he using his following? How do he get his following? By being this negative, right? The same things with our culture. That's the problem with us. Our culture in itself, we're the worst. There's no other genre that does this. If anything, every other genre uplifts each other. Taylor Swift might have a little battle here and there, but guess what? They're supporting her so she can get the rights to her own music. What are we doing?
As far as I'm concerned, as long as I've been on this show, we've never really worried about how much an R&B artist has sold.
Yeah,
we just want to make sure the music sound good.
But what other platforms are doing that? Like you said, we're in that generation where we are the early adopters of the internet. We were there in the transition, but we were there before all that. We also had the pagers. We had so we've adopted all technology. We knew the rotary phone, all that stuff like that. We had access to VHS, via VCR, CDs, and everything. So we're in the middle of that where we understood everything, so we can appreciate everything. But again,
but we don't help it though. We really don't help it at times, because again, when we talk about the barbershop, we already know what we're talking about. We talk about top fives. We don't make it any better. And even though we're smart enough and mature enough to understand, like, music is subjective. So whoever you got up there is yours. I got mine. But it's still competitive, because we still gonna argue. We still gonna debate.
Agreed.
That's fair.
I don't know.
Nas and Jay, and just let it take off. MJ and Bron, MJ and Kobe, and just let it take off. So we do it.
But we do it with healthy banter. Like, here's why this person is better. Here's why we love this person. Yeah, fine, we have to have a GOAT. But this is just bashing everyone. Oh, yeah, the old people didn't have, they're crusty and blah, blah, blah. What did you do for them? What are you doing for them? Instead of sitting there bashing and trying to get your streams up, are you doing anything about it?
We can't allow them to take over the narrative completely, because they contradict themselves.
They shouldn't be
if they feel like their music is much better and things like that, but at the same time will bash one of their fellow men, talking about he didn't sell enough or she didn't sell enough, then what are you saying? You're contradicting yourself.
I don't know, bro. I'm a little disappointed. I think AKADEMIKS, he could have done better. He could have done much better than this. This didn't even need to be a topic.
But this is what he does, though. This is the same guy. This is the same guy who was holding hands with 6ix9ine, skipping in the pool. So he doesn't want to do better. This is how you build This is how he built his following. Sadly, this is how a lot of platforms is being built, off of negativity.
I got nothing. I'm good. I walked in on the back end of this. Look, you know I love my culture, but what I'm seeing these motherfuckers do to it, I guarantee you probably never even heard of Rakim or KRS album.
Hey, your volume. I mean, your mute.
My bad.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You saying Academics never heard of KRS album?
I doubt it.
I mean,
no Boogie Down Production. I doubt it.
I mean, he's probably heard it. I doubt if he's ever taken it in though. Like, here's what I'll say with this.
He took it in.
Well, okay. We're going to go ahead and move right along. Now, all of us are sports fans. We're going to move right along for academics. I have this creative thing that I want to get into, but before we do that, I think it has to be mentioned and talked about that one of our greatest national black treasures has been completely disrespected in Ime Udoka cheating on Nia Long and being suspended from the NBA for a year. What are you guys' takes on this?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It kind of. So there's some other there's another layer to it that is still coming out, and again, we don't know if it's true or not. But you know, I got a couple of friends that are Celtic fans, and I obviously, you know, I had to text them first. That's important. I got up and prayed and went straight to the Celtic fans. And I said, "This is what y'all do. This is what y'all do." You know what I'm saying? My brother's my keeper. But then when a piece of information came out and said, you know, that particular staff member was married to a higher up, I was like, oh, I kind of understand how the news got out. But this is probably the one time that I agree with Stephen A. once a year when he said, if you're not going to fire him, then what's the purpose of bringing out his personal business? You know what I mean?
This could have been handled in-house to a degree.
You could have lied and said he had he's going to be out indefinitely because of an ankle sprain. I would have believed you. I don't need to know
about that far, Baylor, but I get what you're saying.
I just don't need his personal information out like that. I don't. It's not that I don't gain anything from it. I mean, but knowing that we know who he's married to, it's just
they're not even married.
Well, okay.
They just been together for like 20 years. It's crazy.
It's gossip at the end of the day.
Fair enough. Go ahead, Marky.
I find it kind of ironic that he might get a year, the same amount of time the owner of the Suns might get. They got a year ban. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how y'all treating this. This is the level of. You know,
well, which brother's actually shopping the Suns right now? So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's different too, though. That came from his punishment came from the NBA. This is from the team, so it's a little bit different in that case. But I get what you're saying.
So so he's gonna take 2 L's back to back, right? Losing the championship, and you're gonna suspend the best chance you have of winning a championship because he slept with one of the owners. Okay.
No, great. I mean, no. Look, I'm on his side because his information shouldn't have been put out there. At the same time, I definitely understand why they let the information out.
I get.
I mean, but the thing is they would have. Could they have just said broke a team rule or something? Absolutely, but that was still going to anytime. If you remove a coach for a year, there's going to be leaks too. They got ahead of it. Right? They stopped the speculation, at least to a degree, too, by saying a consensual. Thank God for doing that because a black man, because had they not said the consensual part, it would have went very left. So at least they gave that as well. In Boston, no less. Yes, absolutely. So
how is it a rule not to sleep, a year ban to not sleep with an employee in a consensual relationship?
Co-worker.
Fraternization.
Consensual.
Fraternization.
You can smoke weed over.
Hey, I think it's they're mixing it between company policy and personal lives. We're talking about.
I will say this though. Number one, you a fool because Nia Long is Nia Long. That's number one.
No, I disagree with that. I heavily disagree with that. Super duper disagree with that. Because what we assume, because we grew up fantasizing her, that don't mean that she might be it on a personal level.
I don't. 20 years.
I
20
would never.
years.
I would never agree with that.
You put in 20 years. I don't know. I'm gonna leave that there.
All right.
But
I would say that too. Like at that point, if you're with somebody that long, if they're not it on a personal level, then you need to just get out the relationship, player. Like to me, like if you've been with somebody that damn long, like
Kevin Garnett, 14 years.
Not 20. Not 20.
I mean, I don't think it's actually been. I think that might have
20.
been an exaggeration. Is it really 20? Oh, okay.
We're gonna say 20 for the sense of this. But two, tell me she ain't getting more support than Bay did for Jay.
I don't know. I can honestly tell you that she's probably it's a more of an authentic love and like for her more than Beyonce.
They've been engaged. They've been engaged since 2015. Shout out to the 7-year engagement. Shout out to installment plan.
Your bankruptcy gonna fall off before y'all get married.
You can't say you ain't got the money to do it.
Anyway, this took a left. All right, so I said I had an interesting concept. We're going to do today's episode a little bit differently, and let me explain this, a little background behind this. Can you stop eating while we're recording, there, brother?
Sorry, sir.
But with that being said, we are almost at the 20-year anniversary of one of my favorite films, and that's Brown Sugar. And so I wanted to bring this. I wanted to ask you guys, in detail, not just kind of surface level, but when did you first fall in love with hip hop?
Oh, that's easy. Nigga, LL Cool J, Pants Leg, Kango Hat, Rope Chain, Attitude. I told you that he automatically has to be on the Mount Rushmore. It's not an artist that he might not be in my top 5, but I definitely think, like, if hip hop was a person, that's the first one I'm thinking of. And he switched it up. He switched it up on me when he was doing all that.
Okay, but you're saying more of a. I'm saying like moment. What did you like? What was the thing that got you into like really being engaged in hip hop? And I don't mean just the music. I mean it could be the fashion. It could be the dance. It could be anything. But like when did you truly fall in love? If you had anything to pinpoint it on that you can say that you fell in love with hip hop.
Outside of LL, it would have to be the streets. I saw a lot of cats playing certain music in their cars, and then it was like the Raider starter jackets, the Jerry curls, the Nike Cortez, and shit like that. But the earliest I can remember video that I ever seen or that I can remember was I'm Bad. So that's why I say when it comes to LL, like I think LL is hip hop. So that's where I got my love from, because he taught me attitude, and he taught me like, yo, the girls are special though too.
Okay.
So that's where I get. I mean, I think hip hop raised me, and there's so many artists that was my professors. And he just happened to be one of the first ones.
All right, fair enough, Marquis.
I'll say this. Knowing what I know now, I would say Run DMC, I thought I was in love. I think in Slick Rick, I was infatuated. LL, I'm Bad. I think, like I said, it was love, but it was still more of an infatuation. I loved it. I didn't understand the whole concept of, just the culture, how we affected the culture, knowing that this is ours. This isn't just rock music. It's something that you don't even hear on the radio. So you got a cassette tape. This is what you played, and you heard it, and you were part of it. But I think the moment I truly fell in love with it was probably when I heard Follow the Leader.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, holy shit, rhymes no longer just the graffiti art. It's more of like, holy shit, there's lyricism here. There's structure. There's profound. And again, KRS will always be that's the hybrid. But that right there, I was like, something new is here. Something's different. And I have to pay attention. And I wanted to hear more of it. And that's the first time. And then Microphone Fame, I became a fan. Like, it was like something is amiss here. I gotta have more of this. So I'll say that.
I would say, and so the moment that I feel like I fell in love with hip hop, it was a slow burn, right? I think first, like the first time I ever heard Juicy, I was like, oh, this is dope. But I wouldn't say like it was more an infatuation than it was a love. For me, my older sister, amazing Wu-Tang fan, got me into Wu-Tang. But when she got Liquid Swords, she listened to it for a day and she said, bro, you gotta listen to this. And listening through this whole album and sitting there with my sister in her room on tape, listening to this album while playing Nintendo. But when Shadow Boxing came on, it changed my life forever. I don't know what it was about that track. I still to this day, I smell everything. My mom cooking when I hear that song still to this day. That was the moment for me that it was like, I'm not just listening to music. I'm not just not just being something in the background. I'm taking this in. And that moment was the moment that I fell in love with hip hop, and it changed my life forever. Like I said, still to this day, if me and my sister are in the same room and this song plays, we bring up the same story because we were just sitting there playing Nintendo after she called me in there. My sister used to never let me in her room. We bonded over this album. And that's why still to this day, I always say Liquid Swords is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time that doesn't get its just due. But Shadow Boxing is what made me fall in love with hip hop, period.
Wow.
Okay.
So
I gotta say, I grew up. I would have to give credit to Crisscross as well, because they were like 2 or 3 years older than me when they first came out. But it was, you want to talk about like how they say Steph Curry changed the game during his era. They totally changed the game with that wearing clothes backwards shit. You know what I mean? And then that jump was like, that shit was just something new. And I think they came out like 91 or 92 or something like that. Like I was only like 10 at that time. So they was 2 or 3 years older than me. And I was like, yo, you want to talk about influenced? Yeah.
That's what's up. And to me, I think hip hop to me became an escape in a way. Like once I started, it was the rabbit hole. Like this Liquid Swords album, I remember I copied my sister's tape. Shout out to when you can still do that. And I would listen to it in my room, and then from that, I found Ice Cube. And like I went back, and then I remember the first time I ever heard Boys in the Hood is my favorite hip hop beat of all time. I remember the first time I ever heard that. I didn't know who the hell NWA or Eazy-E or anybody was other than Ice Cube being in Friday. But when I heard Boys in the Hood, I literally was like, this may be the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
That beat is fucking, but to this day, it's still being sampled.
That beat's 40 years old to this day, and most beats aren't touching it, bro.
That shit hard. And at the time, I didn't know Eazy-E wasn't really a rapper, but the way his voice sounds on that track, nobody else can do that shit. Nobody else. I'll tell you real quick, when somebody come out with an R&B song that I like, but they voice don't fit it, I was like, nah, let Usher do it.
Yeah.
But this track right here, nobody besides Eazy-E can do that. Nobody. And Ice Cube write rhymes that I say.
That's crazy, man. It's wild to just think about like all the times that and like I said, I didn't want to make it like overly, but like just the different places in my life that I was and how music coincides with it. And like I really do feel like it's almost the same as like when something first clicks to you while you're in school or something, you finally get over that hump. Like once you start not just listening to music, but you start taking it in, when you start living it, when the lyrics start hitting you in a different way, when you start taking all of that, when you start even sonically breaking down rhyme patterns and beats and things like that, like it's like open it. Like music should honestly be taught almost like a foreign language because it's so much in depth. And for people who actually take it in. And that's what sucks sometimes about how like music is taken in now, how we live in this microwave society, because nobody's really taking in the music. They're just listening to the music. And that's, you can tell that by the way that people even talk about the music nowadays as well.
You want to know what's crazy is that they actually teach hip hop courses in school, right? But we are hip hop though. Like we grew up in hip hop. So like we are professors. You know what I'm saying? And we can teach this shit every day.
The only problem with that is I I don't believe in most of the people who think they know hip hop. You feel me? I think people did it because it was cool. They said they listened to it, but they really weren't listening to it.
But then that would be their truth then.
But
Hip
they're
hop,
not gonna admit that.
but hip hop to me, hip hop it will always have the graffiti element to it, the breakdancing element to it, the lyricist part to it, and the DJ part to it. Then it expands. After that, the dances expand. You know what I'm saying? The sound changes. Now we're not just talking about New York. Now we're not just talking about LA. We're talking about the South. And then there's different subcultures within the South. So, I mean, you got to think about people that was born in the 90s, people that was born in the 2000s. It's on us to teach it, but it's on them to go back and learn that shit too. But their hip hop is different from ours.
They're cutting corners though. See, they're the stuff that they're teaching. Like I say, even our age, they say they know it. They don't know it. They say
there's a lot of people our age. Yes. They think and they get by off the conversation of, well, I'm 40 years old. I've been listening to such and such and such, but you can tell they still haven't really taken in the music.
I have conversations with people just sitting back, just listening, going down the rabbit hole with them. I'm like, yeah, you really don't know that song, do you? And they'll quote the chorus, never the verse.
Oh shit, I'm good to forget a verse.
No. You get what I'm saying? It's not spit the entire verse, but don't understand actually what the song is about, or they can say the overall theme or whatever. But
you know when somebody you know when somebody knows hip hop when they know a song that they don't even like because they was a part of that. They was part of that time period where they just kept hearing it, and it was a dope song. It just wasn't for them, but they still know it.
Man, there's been quite a few of those. And look, I'm not knocking anybody. Everybody has their appreciation and love. Like that moment you just shared, A's Shadowboxing. I remember hearing that song, like Method, and the fact that Method had 2 verses on Jizz's song. Jizz only had 1. That's amazing. Usually that doesn't work that way, but that album, Liquid Swords. I remember when the soundtrack, Watch Your Back, whatever. But you best to watch your front, and then Labels. When he came out, I was like, he's the most underrated one of the Wu because he's overshadowed by Method Man's flow, delivery, he didn't have that bombastic, that dynamic.
He didn't have the personality of the other members of.
But he had the lyrics, right? So he was always the delivery. But I remember that era. But I remember everybody was following the Wu off of the strength of, you got your Ray, you got your Ghost, you got Cream and everything like that. And it was dope. But they didn't take the whole thing in. They didn't take the whole culture in. It was just more of a fad. And you really didn't dissect until you had your people who did dissect Wu, but people didn't live it. People didn't love it like it was supposed to be appreciated, Especially over here, Ice Cube.
It depends on how old you were, though. Like when Wu-Tang came out, I was looking at them niggas like superheroes. I was like, "Who's this nigga?" Like, look at his eyes; they're different. Is that shit real?
You over there, you appreciated New York hip hop culture. New York people in hip hop culture didn't appreciate shit over here. They just took it for granted. You get what I'm saying? Right. This is the Mecca, but everybody, the narcissism. I don't have to know it. I'm from here.
Well, we appreciate it because we know it was a different sound, and it was a lot of confidence behind it. You know what I'm saying? So that's and that's what was played. That's what was showed to me a lot. Mm-hmm. We got the West Coast shit, but Yo and TV Raps. You know what I'm saying? They made sure the East Coast was covered heavy.
This is true.
But I'll tell you what. The first time I fell in love with the West Coast, that nigga Cube, man.
Man, listen. Another story that I can tell. The first time I ever heard No Vaseline, this was probably like years and years after it dropped. I was like, can he that's allowed? Did he like legit? I'm like, wait a second. Whoa. And at that time it was like, because I heard it after the Pac and Big beef, and I was like, this ain't nothing Pac and Big did even touching this right now, bro.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man. Crazy, right. Bro. So in the nature of this conversation, we're gonna end this segment on this, and then we're gonna talk about some TV. But favorite verse, if you can name one, if you can whittle it down, favorite verse or favorite song of all time, favorite beat of all time, and the favorite rapper of all time. Which I know some of this for you guys already, but just for the conversation.
That's a lot, dog.
I know.
Favorite rapper is Ice Cube.
Okay.
Favorite verse. Shit, you got me on that one, dog.
Or song. It could be song, verse or song.
My favorite song of all, my favorite hip hop song of all time is it ain't hard to tell.
Okay, that's fair.
That's one of my. It's one of, but that's if I have to present hip hop to somebody here, you got to listen to this first, and then go listen to Q. That's my favorite artist. And you said favorite verse. I can't. I don't. I might. You might have to come back to me on that one.
Your favorite beat? You gave favorite songs.
Favorite beat. We already said it.
Is yours is Boys in the Hood?
Yeah.
Favorite beat, Boys in the Hood. Favorite artist, rap artist of all time. I'm trying not to live in the moment because I'm very close to putting Kendrick Lamar up there officially. I'll still say it's Nas. Favorite verse of all time, verse 1 from New York State of Mind. Favorite rap song, though, of all time is actually, this is going to be weird, Candy Rain, Heavy D.
Shout out to Heavy D.
I love that, bro.
Shout out to Heavy D.
Yeah. Heavy D and So For Real. That's my list.
I might have to go with the first verse of Today Was a Good Day.
Ooh.
Because when that come on, everybody start rapping that shit. Everybody.
Yeah. Every no, and that does almost change. Doesn't matter what background you from, what race you are. Almost everybody knows Today Was a Good Day.
Because the first thing he does is praise God.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. That verse is just a perfect like Saturday morning in LA. But
yeah, I can't do it.
Opposite way though.
Here's why. Here's why. There's too. I don't know. I have too much. Because I mean, Busta's gonna be in there. Missy's gonna be in there. As far as beats, like Timbaland's gonna be here. Pharrell's gonna be. There's too many beats. Super ugly. Like there's way too many beats for me to say. My favorite rapper is always gonna be, and I mean, it's cliche at this point. It's Nas. I will say this. I don't think I've ever played a song more than I played Ether. I'll just say that. I ain't saying that's my favorite rap song. I know I never played a song as much as I played Ether, a rap song. So I can't say that's my favorite. I'm thinking
that's the most played. That's fair. That's acceptable.
Yeah, I gotta think about these, but yeah.
Okay, cool.
You got me on the spot on this one.
All right, cool. Let's move on. So Baylor's caught up with Raising Kanan.
Criminal Minded.
Fair.
Criminal Minded is my favorite. Yes, there's a lot behind that. Yeah,
100% fair. But Baylor, your thoughts on Raising Kanan so far, man? Do you agree with us that this season has been a dud, bro?
No. All right. So here it is. I know. Hey, we are a tough crowd, dog. We are a tough crowd, but I feel like they're in a transition of trying to figure out how to go about the next big moment. Like what's going to happen? Like it's at this point. Like, do one of the brothers got to die? We already know pretty much the ending when it comes to Kanan and Juke. You know what I mean? Because for obvious reasons. But Rock, I'm not sure how many seasons this can go, but obviously we know she's not gonna make it, and I believe that she's not going. I think she's going to go before both of the brothers go. Now the other guy, I don't remember his name, but the heavyset guy that she's chilling with in his art gallery. I like that character. I like him. I think he needs a much bigger role because like his game is too smooth, and I feel like he can provide a lot of help, which she'll need because she might have an upcoming war in the near future because of territory and shit like that. So I get it. It's a little dry right now, but I'm not disappointed. I know because we know 50 at the end of the day. Once you start getting like this, eventually, and I think he listens to the streets. And by now he should know how we are. He know eventually the streets need a body. Shout out to Famous.
Streets need a body.
I'm
glad you're enjoying it, bro.
Is Famous good?
Is he good?
Is he good? Like, no, don't do that. Don't listen with 2022 ears or even 02 ears. Is he good for that time period?
He's all right.
He all right?
He all right. He all right. Anything, Marquis?
I haven't even started watching. I mean, really,
Oh.
like, yeah, it's just like flatline. I will tell you, I got into rap shit though, but I have a episode and a half to go. But
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough there. You got to get into rap shit and you got to catch up on Atlanta, Baylor.
I'm caught up on
I
that.
got you. I got
Oh, I'm
you.
caught up on Atlanta.
I actually forgot all about rap shit, so I'll definitely get back to that. I'll get back to it.
Cool. All right. Well, you got anything for Black People Like Rock too?
Yeah,
Marquis?
yeah, I do. We got some shit coming out. Oh,
Okay.
Willow's coming out this tomorrow, as a matter of fact. And her album actually, some of the songs actually. So here's something. Have you both ever listened to Willow before? Like actually listened to some of her songs?
Yeah, a little bit.
What about you, Baylor?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Will Smith?
Yeah, no. After she whipped her hair back and forth, that was it.
So she has an album called Coping Mechanisms. She's still on Rock Nation, which shout out to Jay. Like he still didn't drop it from the label. You know what I mean? I mean, you probably don't drop Will Smith from the label, but yeah, I like her two songs. It's actually pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to it, and shout out to, and this is an ode to Lion Babe. And what's the other group that you put, Cinnamon Babe, that you put us up on, Baylor? This is an ode to that. Like Black Girls Rock. Here's something cool though. So I don't know if you all know about Afropunk. So Afropunk is an event, and it has a culture, right? Like a following. So I went to it a couple of weeks ago. I think I talked about it in Brooklyn. And there was a couple of rock bands. Burna Boy was there. There's a few other artists that were popping. Earl Sweatshirt and everything. And it was some rock bands there, right? Like black rock fusion and everything. So it's LGBTQT community.
Yo, Earl Sweatshop is like Rudy Gay.
Explain.
He should have been better than what he is.
I mean, Kid Cudi too. I could say the same thing about that, but
I'd take Earl over him.
Okay.
In the draft.
My point is the draft. Oh shit. My point is Afropunk. It's a different vibe. It's more Gen Zennial, they say. Gen Z, millennial, LGBTQT. When I tell you the support is real, That's loyalty. They support. It was pouring rain, and people didn't have umbrellas, but they were still rocking out with them and everything. But that black rock is really there, to the point where it probably won't even be called black rock anymore. So.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, Slipknot's coming out the end of the month.
Shout out to Slipknot. All right, Baylor, your segment before we go, brother.
Yeah, before we get out of here real quick, I'm going to have to put y'all thinking caps on. The best album that came out in 1992, and you can't use Dr. Dre or Redman.
Dice Low.
1992 albums. Fuck.
1992 in my top
1992. Why I'm looking at it? Why 1992?
I just picked a random. I think because for one, it was random. Two, I think 1992 was one of the best years of hip hop.
Oh,
one of
what? The album Redman.
No, I said you can't use Redman. No Redman. No Dr. Dre.
Oh,
Bizarre Ride, one of the best albums I've ever heard in my life.
Wait, is this just hip hop or any genre?
No, just hip hop.
I was going to because I was going to say Alice in Chains, Dirt.
The Predator, Ice Cube.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Really?
All right. Hey, I'm gonna throw a curveball. That Deep Cover soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
92 was it, dog.
P Rock and CL Smooth, Mecca and the Soul Brother.
Yo, 92 and 97.
Sade.
Holla at me.
Love Deluxe.
Or 92 and 98. One of those years.
Oh, 98, I can give you a lot of 98. I know. But hold on, like there's a lot that came out in 92.
No. I'm not saying you got to give me 98. I'm just saying if I had to pick,
check your head.
Two of the best years in hip hop in the 90s, I'm gonna go with 92 and probably 90s.
I'll go 94 before I go 98.
You go 94?
Yeah, because Miseducation, Lauryn Hill came out. Aquemini, Hello Nasty. Damn.
Oh, they got some hits, huh?
Marilyn Manson, Mechanical Animal. Volume 2 came out. Jay-Z. Your boy Kid Rock. Let's see 94 real quick. Oh, you got me searching. 94
He got me searching. 97 Harlem World.
Illmatic.
Illmatic.
Beastie Boys, Ill Communication.
Yeah, that was it.
That was W's Downward Spiral. Bouncing. Yeah, Aquemini. That was Southern Playalistic Cadillac Music.
Hey, did you say you got Predator?
Yeah, I got Predator.
And everybody is scared of her. Okay.
All right.
Shout
This
out
is
to
a
him.
good episode, bro. I'm glad you guys embraced the random concept I wanted to come. It was fun. It was a fun conversation, bro.
Hey, when you put the fellas in a room, we're gonna figure some shit out.
Yeah.
Just roll the ball out and let them play.
Absolutely. But that has been it for episode of the Breaks Radio. You can follow us. First, guys, get your social media. Any parting words?
At Baylorism on TikTok, at Baylorism on Twitter, at Baylor the Great on IG. Follow me. I follow back. Maybe. Bars.
Did
Larceny.
6ix9ine ghostwrite for you on that one?
Hey, you gotta embrace the youngsters, man. That's what I'm doing.
That's funny.
Yo,
You thought I was feeling you?
time out. Oh shit. Time out, yo. 92, yo. Daily
90
Operation Gangstar. Dead
92
Serious.
hitting.
Nas Effects.
Hey, 92
Grand
is
Pooh,
hitting,
Real to
boy.
Real.
Hey, you better stop playing with 92. Nigga.
Spice One.
I was 10.
Chia Lee. Yeah, Deep Cover soundtrack. Sir Mix-a-Lot. K Solo. Yeah, I gotta give it to you. That was a dope year. I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt the end of this, but
I had to
That's
take
always
the
what you
Chronic.
do.
I had to take Chronic and
you still invite me back.
and what the album off, man. That was too easy. I knew Hayes was gonna go straight.
Boys
for
Criss
Reggie
Cross
Noble.
came out. 92.
Yeah, totally crossed out.
Wow.
All that
Follow me to
on
hell.
Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's shut it down. Shut it down. We are not worthy. We are not worthy. Hey,
You
fun
guys-
fact. Fun fact. My son auditioned
Fushniks.
for the reboot.
The reboot of it? That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Hopefully he
Good
gets
luck,
it.
man.
No, this
Yeah.
was years ago. He didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you sound like you auditioned like recently. I'm like,
Yeah.
You saw that.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Breaks Radio. Make sure you follow us collectively at The Breaks Radio. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, thebreaksradio@gmail.com. Lastly, you want to leave a text and or voicemail, 614-547-2039. We are the #1 spot for everything hip-hop related, and we out this bitch. Peace, y'all.